So I'd like to start, if I may, with a Buddhist parable. Don't panic. You don't have to be a Buddhist to understand it. It works well for everybody. I just like to acknowledge my sources, just in case you thought I thought it all up on my own. So, glass, spoon, spoon, glass. Bit of magic coming up. I'm going to stir this water and see what happens. That wasn't supposed to happen, actually. I made it too full. Okay, let me try again. I'm going to stir this water. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Nothing happens when I stir that water. Just forget the bit about it sloshing all over the desk. Here's another glass of water. Let me do the same thing and see what happens. Aha! Well, you don't have to be a Nobel physicist to know that the difference between the two was that the second glass had sediment in the bottom, and when I agitated the water, the sediment came up, made the water cloudy. Okay, I said it was a parable. Think about you. Think about what happens when someone triggers a strong emotion in you. That's a bit like your sediment getting stirred up. They come along, agitate you like a spoon, all the sediment goes up and cloudy, and suddenly you're not who you were a minute earlier. But what about the glass that doesn't go cloudy? Because the question is, the philosophical question is, does the water go cloudy because the spoon is agitating it, or because it has sediment in it to start with? Well, I'll let you ponder on that one, but that's the question for you. When I blame somebody else for making me angry, is it them making me angry, or is there something in me that is responding to a stimulus from them and making me angry? So what I want to do in a few minutes, over these few minutes that we've got, is just talk you through ways of thinking about how to get rid of that sediment, how to remain clear when somebody is agitating you. Okay, so here's a little exercise. I'd like you to think of somebody who really winds you up, somebody that just pushes all your buttons, and if you were in a room and they walked in, you'd walk out as quickly as you could. Okay, got somebody? All right. Now, they may be a work colleague, they may actually be somebody out of work. For the purposes of the exercise, assume that you work with this person. So put yourself in an office, you're getting on with some work, you look up and you see this person walking towards you. And you can see that they clearly want to come and talk to you about something. And you can also see that all your means of escape are cut off. So you're going to have to talk to them. Okay. Take a moment, if you've got a bit of paper, just write down what's in your head right now. What are the thoughts and feelings that are going through you as you see them advance towards you? If you haven't got a bit of paper, just think them and remember them. Okay? Well, you probably wrote down something like, oh, here we go, I know how this is going to end. Oh, she's just going to be, or he's just going to be dreadful. They're going to be a complete waste of my time. You get the idea. So my question is, when they actually arrive and start talking to you, how are you going to be listening? I don't think you're going to be listening very well at all. You're going to listen to them up until the point where they say the thing that makes you think, you see, I knew they were going to say that. They always do that. And your emotions now are clouding everything else. The spoon is being stirred, and it's hard for you to think very clearly about this. Because the thing that's happening to you actually is something that is very long-standing in our evolutionary wiring, and it's called the fight or flight response. You may be familiar with this already. Forgive me then, I'm just going to, for those who aren't, just a very quick kind of précis. Something that evolution gave us when we needed it, when we were hunter-gatherers and often had to deal with threats in the environment by either fighting or running away. That's less relevant now because I wouldn't recommend either of them if you're in a meeting with a difficult person. But what your body still does, even now, thousands of years after it was actually necessary, your body prepares you for those two options, to fight or to run away. And a whole cocktail of hormones and other chemicals go into you. And I'll just give you a couple of things that are going on as a result. Your glucose levels in your blood rise, your blood pressure goes up. So you're going to have lots of energy and a feeling that you need to use it for something. Your vision goes tunnel vision. So you're really acutely aware of this person staring at you, and your muscles tense up, ready to be used, and you have this overwhelming urge for action. Is it surprising then that a conversation with someone who you find irritating will often end with you being quite emotional and losing some control of any kind of more sensible or productive way of having the meeting? Fortunately, there is one thing that you can do that is like a magic wand when you have this kind of stressful, triggering response. I'll give you a clue. It starts with B. Yes, breathing. Technically, diaphragmatic breathing. Breathing from your diaphragm, which is sort of under here, below your rib cage. This sounds like a weird hobby, but I don't know if you've ever watched a baby breathing. Its stomach goes up and down, not its ribs. It's the most natural way to breathe. And also, breathing from your diaphragm slowly will set up autonomic sympathovagal modulation. You knew that already, which calms your parasympathetic nervous system and eases the fight or flight syndrome. It's like the brain's thinking, oh, the danger must be over because you're stopping and breathing properly. And what the brain does is remove the unhelpful chemicals and put some more soothing ones in their place. So, what does this mean? It doesn't mean that when this irritating person comes and says, have you got a minute, you say, hang on while I unroll my yoga mat and just do a few. You take a breath where you are. Notice what's happening. Acknowledge the feeling. Oh, I see what's happening. My temperature's going up, as it were. My red mist is coming up. Stop. Breathe. Take a moment. Use it to listen to them. Say hello to them in a friendly way. I'll come back to the friendly way in a moment. And use that time to let them talk. And while they're talking, take some breaths. And what you'll find is it starts to detach you from the emotion. And your brain will clear up, and you will be much more able to have a productive conversation. What you can do now is something which I call the as-if technique. This is something I've used with coaching clients, and it's really, really effective. What you do, it's a kind of brain trick. You approach the person as if something is the case which isn't. So as if they're your oldest and dearest friend, for example. As if you're a journalist who's come in to understand what's really going on in this team, and you want to just get some facts and really understand them. A client of mine used that really effectively with somebody that she just absolutely couldn't bear, and it took her out of the picture. And she was able to get all sorts of useful information out of the person just by asking them questions and listening, like a journalist would. So it doesn't matter what the as-if is, but it's got to be something that isn't what is normally here, because what is normally here is the thing that pushes your buttons. So you find a different way of doing it. Turn it into a game. I'm going to find out something nice about this person, and I can only do that by keep talking to them and asking them questions and going through stuff. So, you see, it's still cloudy, and this is the thing. If you don't deal with it up front, this cloud will go following you around all day. So if you want to be clear in these situations, then remember, breathe as you feel the red mist coming. Breathe from your diaphragm. Even a couple of deep, slow breaths will do it. And then as your brain clears, find an as-if that will that will give you a different way of dealing with the person that you're talking to in a way that will be more productive. And you will be amazed. I mean, even smiling at the person as they arrive rather than scowling will change the way the whole conversation goes, because they have sediment as well. And if you change your approach, maybe you won't stir up their sediment. Maybe you'll be able to deal with them as an everyday, normal human being. Wouldn't that be great? So that's all from me. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy videos from my colleagues as well, and I'll see you hopefully sometime. Our paths will cross. Thank you.